Hi, this is Pete Lyons of Let's Play Salesforce. Got a couple of friends with me tonight. So I am joined by the organizers of the Florida DataTribe who are here to talk to you guys a little bit about the work that they've been doing with a remote Einstein Analytics Salesforce Saturday. So over to you guys.
All right, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and Let's Play as FDC. My name is Gian. I've been co-hosting Salesforce Saturday with Lucas Ribeiro. I'm gonna just do a very warm-up introduction here real fast to actually lay down the path for you to understand. So we have been putting some events every other Saturday. This past Saturday was just our number 10 in the remote format. But I mean, this is only in the remote format because that's actually event number 20 in this year alone. So yes, we have been putting a lot of events together to give it back and to teach to people. And then the big question is like, why would you do that? You know, why would you be on 20 weeks doing the remote format? And I was traveling into a lot of places to do the in-person events before we had this breakdown situation. And the answer is, it's very simple. You know, it's just to share about our passion. You know, I started working with Salesforce, and then I did some classic to lightning implementations. I did some workflows to process builders. I worked as a manager for a service cloud solution with a big team supporting me, but there wasn't that something else. It was kind of like missing something. And then a friend came to me asking for, hey, I want to do an event to teach for people. That friend was actually Lucas, you know, and say, hey, man, I can actually run sort of like an academy where we are going to take people, we're going to ask them to bring their laptops and we're going to teach about Einstein. And I was like, man, that sounds really cool. I want to do that, you know, count me more, you know, let's do this thing. And this event actually happened last year. It was an in-person format event and it was still in Sao Paulo. As a curiosity, we had 50 spaces to that event. And there was actually 49 people, which in my understanding, it was a huge success. But the tricky part is when you say, hey, I work with Einstein, or I mean, I'm still learning and loving it. People say, oh, you work with a BI tool, right? You work with analytics. And you say, well, there's actually a little bit more. You know, the name of the platform is Einstein. Analytics is just one of these 40 plus solutions. So we have vision, language, Einstein search, Einstein prediction builder, discovery, the very famous next best action now available after this release. But I mean, OCR, which is optical character recognition, the translation, Einstein bot, Einstein bots, and as I said it, there's a ton of solution. But the more important thing, you know, Einstein is so available. It's at our fingertips. It can bring an understanding about data. It can use even artificial intelligence. Then there's no black box about it. So when you actually start working with it, you see that the future of technology, it's today. It's not tomorrow. It's not something like artificial intelligence. It's a robot killing machine with a machine gun on its hand, and it's gonna be the Terminator sort of thing. No, it's not. It's actually data that is going to analyze everything through an algorithm where you can understand what's gonna help, what's gonna do, and this is gonna help you win more opportunities or have an understanding about the discounts that you're giving for a scenario and how is this being positive in your business to close more deals, to make more money, but not about in the money part, in the emails, in the meetings, in the phone calls that the sales rep is doing. And I mean, this is just one of the endless possible scenarios. And I mean, the passion that I saw to have the access to data is that data is everywhere. So yes, we can use Einstein for Sales Cloud. We can use Einstein for Service Cloud, Marketing, Pardo, CPQ, you name it. Einstein's there. Einstein can process data in a such fast way using its own SQL that the more I learn and finding videos like from our friend Pete on all the other events or even the webinars promoted by Salesforce, I think, man, we just got to give it back. We just got to pay it forward and do our part. This situation that we have in an unprecedented way has put a readjustment in our sales. Let's put this way. We were doing in-person events, reaching 50, maybe 70 people. My record was 126, which for me was very big, and trying to teach them. But then we came now to the remote format. And I mean, this remote format, it's allowing us to have everyone from people from all over the world are supporting us, are learning. We have had some cases of success. There's already 4 people that got certified of Einstein thanks to us. This is the latest number that I got. I mean, it can be even more, but then someone that did not even share it with us. So that's the opening. This is my passion to Einstein. I was introduced to Einstein last Dreamforce. I've been working with Lucas since December, so it's been quite a wild journey, but I can't ever complain, and I can't even foresee what's gonna be the future because of the power that this platform can actually enable us. So thank you for this intro, and now I hand it to my big buddy, Lucas. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, G. That's awesome. Love the passion. Pete, thank you very much. You've been a leader in our community in Einstein and sharing knowledge and being able to help it grow and helping the economy grow. And I think that's massive. I think it's so important that we've done that. I was quite the opposite. So, one of our opening questions is why we started the group and what we're doing. I was the opposite. I started studying machine learning back in 2015. I got really interested in it. And then I learned about Einstein the same year at a machine learning conference in New York. But I learned about MetaMind first. And I had heard about wave analytics and, at my job at Cognizant supporting Salesforce. But I was really interested in these technologies and seeing the blend of them. I became a hermit. I dive deep into this shell of trying to learn as much as I can and do as much as possible, and come up with all these unique solutions. We built a solution at the consultancy I used to work with that was pre-data sync, right? It was a way to sync your data and make sure that you can, run your data flows faster. And we showed that to Salesforce and helped them collaborate. There were other people doing similar tools, and ultimately that collaboration led to the data sync tool, which allows all of us to get access to our data a lot faster. I've been really passionate about the platform, and I've been fortunate to work with some really big names and being able to, but it all comes from me being such a hermit, right? And I'm not afraid to share my information, but more just because I wasn't very confident in that area, that I would be this player. But in the Salesforce community, we find that there's a big impact that you can make by sharing with people. We're all elevated by people who allowed us to learn and gave their knowledge, through the community. Through my time, it was Answers more than it was Trailhead, but people there are always supporting one another. So I wanted to start looking at, right, I had a decent amount of success. I got a massive offer for about $500,000 for a job, and I was like, I'm going to start this company instead, and just hire people and give back. I'm not going to take a job because then I'll be stuck in the shell again, right? I went to Dreamforce, and I saw the community. I saw them interacting with one another, and I saw how awesome it was. And I figured there's so much more potential here. So we'll take the next steps, in making things legitimate. And the biggest step that we've taken on is being involved in the community. It's probably been the best thing that I've done, is to take that sharp curve. Is that this Dreamforce in 2019, like G said, I did an education course in Rio and in Sao Paulo where we did a live event and trained people. And when I was in that room that G mentioned, where he somehow packed 50 people into the room at a random office building on a weeknight in Sao Paulo, where there's lots of other options for you to do, and people didn't even eat the snacks. They just sat there and learned Einstein analytics, and they were like curious to go through and through. We went from data loading to data bindings all within 2 hours, and everybody was just stuck on their screens making it happen. And I saw the impact that was having in people's lives. It was so much more than, anything else that I had done. And I wanted that. I wanted to do more of that. So we coordinated and destinies led us to the place where we are today. And we decided to, at Dreamforce, we talked to people like P and see how we could help and contribute to the community. And they mentioned, Florida doesn't have a data tribe. So we decided, let's open up our Florida Data Tribe, right? It's where I'm based out of. Let's start doing some events. And we planned to do at least an event, 2 events a month. And then, so when COVID came, we decided to do an event every other Saturday, which, we thought was gonna be a lot of content to provide. Started off with me just demoing things on webinars, everything from the Salesforce Einstein Analytics basics to showing you how to do some Einstein Discovery basics, showing you how to use some of the REST API for Einstein Discovery so you can reach out and go everywhere. We did a lot of variance and complexities, try to keep it at multi-level so that we get a lot of people interested and add a lot of value to people. And now we're having lots of people and guests come on. Even Pete's going to be on at an event soon. So we're really excited for that. And getting these great people that have been building this economy of Einstein over the last couple of years involved in spreading that word. And, it's great to see people's lives being impacted now, right? Certifications coming through, people getting jobs, people being passionate and so sharing that passion and what, we all know, Salesforce has been the #1 company at helping all businesses become customer centric, all businesses become technology businesses, right? You now have a Salesforce, you now have this complex platform at your fingertips, and they've been gathering data. And now in the decade of data, we want to make our contribution to helping people be able to manage that, make decisions off of it, leverage the things that they've been building up for years. And it's just been so much fun to be able to share and then also learn. You learn so much when you get other people's perspectives. I've never learned so much, and it sounds like a cliche, but it's not. Then when you're teaching, when you start teaching more, you challenge yourself to learn even more. So I've learned the errors in my hermit ways, and I've come out, and we've all been trying to contribute as much to the community as possible. And it's been a blast, especially during these times, to be able to, contribute in any way possible.
So I got a question for you guys. I've seen this. I'm going to turn the fan off. So I've seen the inertia grow around. I think it was around this time last year that we heard there were over 1,000 community groups, and especially with COVID and everything going virtual, that spirit of solidarity is permeating. And I joined a couple collaborators around a year ago, and we started doing the Data Tribe Coffee Hour. Our next session is going up tomorrow. We're going to do Summer 20 release coverage. But a lot of people have reached out and said to me, like, well, how do you take on something like that? Like, I'm a user group leader of a local group, but our group's small, and managing a group that meets every 6 weeks and it's like 10 to 15 people, well, that's really approachable. But you're talking about putting out content every 2 weeks in a remote context for potentially 150 viewers or participants or more. And that's certainly not something that you want to try to do on day one, but just for people who are looking for opportunities for how they can share and maybe coordinate these sort of things or help out existing events that are already out there. What's some advice, and also things about the process that were counterintuitive to your expectations?
G, would you like to go?
Yes. It's such a powerful question, and I can answer with one word. It's as simply as passion. When you have passion, when you like the thing, when you like what you do, it's not work. The company do pay us. The company that me and Lucas we work for believes in the core education of education, the core value of education, which means they support us big time. But I don't care about the money that I'm making on working on Saturday. I care about the lives we are touching, the content we are teaching to the people. So yes, it's a lot of work to handle these events. But then again, we have teamwork, Lucas and myself, we have been working together. We have a couple of more friends that actually support us, which is Philip and Samuel. They also help us in creating banners and putting up some demos, or to going over some of the topics that we are going to go through. So if you have people supporting you that also shares the same vision or the passion, as I said it, I think it's all worth it. And then you don't see the problems, the issues, you only see the goals and the objectives and the benefits.
And then in terms of, you know, some practical steps for people, one of the first things we did, Pete, right? We reached out to somebody like you who's had experience, right? So we went and we said, hey, Pete, we want to do this. We have this really ambitious goal. You know, we like big, hairy, audacious goals at our company, so let's do it. This is our personalities. We like to do this personally. How can we do this? And Pete's like, well, hey, here's the issues. You know, you pointed out what potential issues we could have. You know, you saved us from, you know, potentially going outside of certain guidelines, making sure that we stayed, you know, and then we added the most value to the most people by, you know, putting tiered information. So there's a series of questions that G asks at the beginning of every call, every remote call that we do, is asks just to gauge at what percentage of our audience is at what level of Einstein knowledge. Are you familiar with it? Is it your first time hearing about it? You know, or are you a, you know, a veteran essentially? And by categorizing that and using that as an engagement tactic, you know, we can start divvying content. But then also, you know, reaching out to people in the community who've done it before, people who work at Salesforce, people who will lead other groups. There's a massive, like you said, over 1,000 groups out there where there's people that, you know, have a backlog of what they just need to maybe adjust to a new audience that maybe we've captured. And then we can leverage that and really be able to say, you know, we've had, I think at this point, G, like more than 10 different speakers, like 12 different people present.
Yeah, we are on the number 12 already. Pete and
Yeah.
Zia, they're going to be 13 and 14.
So we've had a lot of people come in and contribute to the point where, you know, as long as we're putting together these events, these banners, the meetup groups, and we're advertising it, you know, getting people that can come and bring a unique perspective today is so much easier because of those that came before us, right? So reaching out to those connections, don't be afraid to reach out to, you know, Peter Lyons. You know, he's got this YouTube channel that is well known on Einstein Analytics. And you're like, well, will Pete respond to me? Well, he will, right? And especially if you're going to help continue the mission that he's heavily invested into, right? And these people will, as long as they're aligned, and you can come back and, you know, you can reach out to resources at Salesforce. I think that community support really makes it easier. And internally, we like to do 2 sessions of education company-wide a week. So with 2 sessions of like educational content happening every week, you know, for us, making sure we have a backlog of what we can do in case we don't have a presenter is always available. So as long as you have that within your, you know, you have some timeline where you're educating yourself and you're taking notes on what you're doing, saving those things and documenting trainings that you've done on Trailhead and things of that nature, use cases that you've had and made them abstract in a sandbox somewhere. You know, you can always use those content and those people, and you can have this whole backlog of content that at some point you think is impossible, but there's just more questions out there than there are answers. So the more the merrier.
Yeah, and I'll just add a couple of things to that. Never be discouraged by the head count. I think like I've had in-person Salesforce Saturdays where only one person showed up. But sometimes it's that one person that drove 2.5 hours to get there because their local user group wasn't having another event for over a month. And sure enough, I was, you know, stayed connected with that person. And a month later, they were telling me about how they just got their admin cert. You know, it's not about, it's quality, not quantity when it comes to the impact that you can have on people. Don't be scared, just do the thing and reach out. I mean, like, I'm not unique in that I'm responsive when people try to message me. There is a misunderstanding that it's like, oh, he's on YouTube, therefore he's unapproachable. But look at the history of my comments. If people just, you know, say thank you, or this is cool, or haha Rickroll, you know, I'll give it a thumbs up. There's no need for a comment. But anytime that somebody has actually given constructive feedback or asked a question, A lot of times the answer is, well, you know, sorry, I need to see screenshots and I need to see data. So let's take this over to the Trailblazer community. But they don't go unanswered. And if, you know, if I miss the notification and it takes me a month and then I'm like, oh crap, there was a comment on my channel that I didn't answer and it was a month ago, I'm still gonna go and respond to it. And I'm not unique in this characteristic. Anybody who's gonna take on like that challenge of saying, you know, I'm a blogger, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a community group organizer, you know, that's just part of the package deal. So I would also say, you know, if you do want to take on something like this, be ready to be that person, because mentorship is an amazing opportunity. And to your point on, I really loved your point on, both you discussed it, but the idea of learning through teaching, and this idea that, you know, a lot of times, like, if you go through the catalog on my channel, a number of videos were like, somebody posted a question to the community, I didn't know if it was possible, I built it out, and I'm like, oh, this is fun, so I made a video. And I've learned so much just by trying to solve other people's riddles. And my last comment, whether or not my company paid me to do this wouldn't really have any impact for me. I'm on salary, so technically, like, even if they did say, like, yes, we officially endorse all of this, it wouldn't really have any impact. But I've always actually kind of maintained professional separation with, as I wear my company logo. I've never said my company name on my channel. I've said it in, like, you know, I posted snippets of me speaking at Dreamforce where it's mentioned, but the reason why is not because my company doesn't back me up. It's really just legal red tape around, these are my opinions and not the views of my company. And, you know, we're a pretty significant public traded company. If I want to post new release content and make jokes and show bugs and stuff, and I do that on behalf of my employer, there's a vetting process that would most likely, like, kill my lead time. So instead of posting content 2 months before it comes out, it might take a little bit longer. But if ever there was a misunderstanding, no, they totally have my back. For example, when we were doing in person, you know, I was hosting Salesforce Saturdays out of our office, and just getting the Wi-Fi access, corporate IT was very concerned about, well, we don't have a form for that, and they wanted everybody's email address, and they said, well, give us the email addresses in advance for all of your attendees, and we'll make sure that they have temporary Wi-Fi users. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. One, it's against charter for me to collect that information. Two, we don't know who's going to show up until they show up. So no, that's not going to work. And our practice leadership of the Salesforce practice, they said, don't worry about it, Pete, we'll take that on. And they went through the necessary approval process. So, like, if you're in the Salesforce ecosystem and you work a Salesforce job, there's a good chance your company will back you up directly or indirectly or otherwise. And your leadership will have your back. And I mean, frankly, if they don't, you might be at the wrong shop. But, you know, it's one big Ohana. And I don't care what's on your ID badge at the end of the day. Let's hang out, let's learn together, let's collaborate. So I'll kick it back to you guys. Is there anything else that you want to add besides hyping? I believe it's August 8th is,
Yes.
I'll be presenting, and I think I'm presenting back to back with Ziad, right?
Yeah, Ziad has not confirmed it until now, but let's call it a yes, because I'm putting pressure on our friend here. But everything will turn out, and then August 8th at 1 p.m. on Eastern time, and then we choose around either 1 or 2 p.m. on Eastern, because then folks on Central and also Pacific can also join.
Yep, and I'll be presenting on an introduction to SACWL, and then a couple other hype items. I'm hoping to publish this video later tonight, so assuming that I actually do get it out on time, tomorrow at the bit.ly link being shown on the screen right now, you can join DataTribe Coffee Hour at 5 p.m. Eastern for just some Spring 20 release highlights. And this is a much more casual event. I like to refer to it as the MVP or the MTV Unplugged of webinars. It's very chill. It's very laid back. You know, we don't necessarily get our slides right, but the heart is there. And then, oh yeah, my channel turned 3 weeks old just a couple of days ago. So, I want to thank you guys for joining very much. And if anybody out there wants to, give recommendations for content, or if you are an analytics expert and you are looking to begin your journey into sharing and collaborating, please reach out to the guys from the Florida DataTribe, because I'm sure that they could use some speakers, or ideas that you want to see on my channel. We're always open to that kind of feedback. So as always, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, tell a friend, and as always, thanks for watching.